All right. Welcome to the another amazing, exciting episode of the GMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network, brought to you by your host, your hostess with the mostest, your favorite wrestling fan, and honestly, it is awesome. It is pretty cool to be a wrestling fan right now, to be honest. With all this stuff going down in AEW, NXT, WWE, New Japan Wrestling, and also Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling. Honestly, it's pretty good to be here, as a wrestling fan. It's not too late to join our side, our wrestling fan. We're a family. We're always open to new people, new believers, and most importantly, new hardcore wrestling. I'm sorry. Sorry y'all hear that. But anyways, thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We have a little bit of a WWE NXT review. We have an AEW preview. We have a little bit talking about women's wrestling and Alexa Bliss coming back. Also, Jade Cargill, I believe that's the way you pronounce her name. So yeah, we just have a lot of we have just bunches and bunches just in store for you guys, my favorite audience of all people. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So, to ensure that your questions get answered and read on air, use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your questions all the way up on top so we can have like a nice little conversation about wrestling. I love wrestling. You love wrestling. Why don't we all just talk about wrestling? Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what I absolutely like blew on. Tell me something you want a further elaboration on. We're all wrestling fans, so honestly, there's not a right or wrong answer in wrestling. But anyways, so once again, the link is the gsmcpodcast.net. So make sure to give your questions there. All right, going on to the first segment. What do we got here? What do we got? We have the WWE NXT review. A pretty awesome, to be honest. To as opposed to all the other NXTs. And you can't really blame NXT and you can't really blame the wrestling, organization or the creative talent to be like, obviously, these next episodes heading toward the WrestleMania event, especially when you're on Saturday. You're on Saturday. And usually, and I'm going to talk about this later on in the podcast, but since WWE split WrestleMania into two nights, night one, which is Saturday, night two, which is Sunday, there was always kind of a lag in night one. There really was. But now you have the Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins against Roman Reigns and The Rock. And you also have NXT Stand and Deliver in the morning to kind of like, it's kind of like a warm up the audience. You kind of have to be that good. You kind of have to be that person, just like hype up the next man. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of like a, performing, like if you go to a concert, there's always like a pre-show or there's always like a supporting act that always gets, they go before the main stage and the main act. And I don't know, they always like really hype up the fans, get them ready for an awesome show. So I can imagine NXT Stand and Deliver is going to kind of be like this. So yeah. So the show started off with Dijak and Sean Spears. Sean Spears, he lost, which was actually surprising. I thought they were gonna kind of push him here. Ty Dillinger coming back, the perfect 10. But I don't know. They as as recently kind of becoming like more of a NXT fanatic. Dijak he's entertaining as hell to watch. He has the athleticism. He's like the powerhouse. He's also kind of unpredictable here. He kind of reminds me of like a Randy Orton. And honestly, I think if he's hearing this podcast, that'd be like kind of like a compliment toward the guy because Randy Orton's like one of a kind and not a lot of people can be the Viper Randy Orton, but honestly, I think Dijak is kind of like that NXT kind of version of Randy Orton. Next, I have Jasmine Nix versus Thea Hale. Thea Hale has recently kind of got back to her roots. She's that like that lovable, like but yet feisty kind of girl that's ready to just throw down whenever she can. She recently kind of took more of a recluse approach when she was kind of best friends with Jasmine Nix's I don't want to say promoter because that sounds really weird. Uh, kind of like her protege. Kind of like her protege. So I don't know. From the beginning of the match, Leia was all over Nyx. And then, of course, we had interference, and that's usually how the heels in the WWE usually prevail. Is once when once when you have that baby face, that new and improved, that new I reformed myself. I want to be a people's person. Usually always gets like the crap end of the stick, and unfortunately, Thea Hill was although she has pretty good greener pastures heading toward her, but just the interference in the match, either win or lose for any superstars, it's all also kind of like it's pretty melancholy. It's kind of grim. And I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't know. That's just wrestling. That's professional wrestling. I love it. You love it. And we move on for that. So let's move on. Um, like I said before, this is arguably the biggest WrestleMania like ever. Oh God. Not only does Raw have to deliver, not only does SmackDown have to deliver, but a lot of people are pegging on NXT Takeover, not NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver. It used to be called Takeover. That's weird. But NXT Stand and Deliver to kind of, warm up the crowd, kind of get them ready for that Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, like, and you don't even know that tag team match is going to be absolutely unpredictable. And I know I'm just journeying on and on about this match because I'm excited about it. Obviously, if you have something to say about it, use the tips and the donations link. Like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. But yeah, it's going to be the biggest Saturday of the WrestleManias for forever, forever. For no, no, I'm just kidding. But honestly, like this build up toward WrestleMania 1 is just like more important and bigger than anything we have ever seen ever since the WWE split the WrestleMania into night 1 and night 2. Arguably, before there's been some pretty good matches, but just this build up, it's just absolutely the tension, the like oh my God, like it's to the point where like you feel like these superstars actually kind of hate each other. And if you feel like that and watching that as a fan, I believe WWE creative and promotions have kind of did their job. They kind of did their job. Like honestly, this is probably going to be the best WrestleMania of all time so far. And I know that's either what generation of wrestling that you're from. There's obviously going to be some kind of like, backlash or some kind of like rebuttal. But hey, come at me, bro. Tips and donations link. Write it down. Write it down. I'm just kidding. Sorry for the aggression. All this WrestleMania tension's in my blood. I feel like I can face in WrestleMania. I feel like I can face Roman Reigns and probably last in that match like maybe 30 to 40 seconds at least. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but moving on to the NXT. So what really surprised me about NXT watching this past Tuesday was that Natalia came out. Natalia, and she's obviously I don't think she's really ever been in the NXT. She's kind of born from that Nine Heart Family Foundation, and she was kind of automatically like you have those kind of those not celestial abilities, but kind of like those abilities that get passed on from family to family to family. You have Brett, you have Jim, you also have Owen. And I think a lot of people anticipated Natalia's career to kind of be better than it is as of right now. Like, and honestly, this move for her going back to NXT, I think it's doing. I think it's better. I think it's for the best. Like, I don't know if she's going to compete with Valkyrie or Roxanne Perez right away, but I don't know, just kind of having that veteran mentality there in the locker room, kind of like what, like the rumor going around that CM Punk is kind of involved in NXT promotions. It really doesn't hurt to have those people behind the scenes. It's kind of helping these young athletes deal with all this attention, all this pressure, all this like physicality when it comes to like a match. What it takes for you to bring in the audience, and what it takes for you to bring in not just the audience, what it takes to bring in officials, the people who sign your paychecks, the people who are constantly watching to be like ready to press that fire button, like fired, fired. That was the wrong wrist lock. Oh, wait. Oh, did he just? Oh no, 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 fire. No, but honestly, it's the wrestling business is pretty cutthroat, and I don't know. It's kind of cool to see NXT stars kind of thrive, and I think Natalia, along with CM Punk, would do wonders for this organization or this promotion. You know what I mean? But anyways, so Ilya Dragunov building momentum. He beat his opponent, going toward Tony D'Angelo. And to be honest, guys, like I like Tony D'Angelo. I like that Italiano. Like we want to invite you to a dinner before WrestleMania. And I apologize if there's any Italians watching out there that are upset with my accent. You have every right in the world to call me a jackass, but no. But I don't know. I just don't see really Tony D'Angelo holding the NXT world title. Dragunov right now, he's kind of I don't know, he's kind of not unstoppable, but right now he seems like the right move to have the strap on for NXT. And you kind of need more of a fitting opponent to fight. Like, let's just face it, the only way Tony D'Angelo's in this match is because the whole feud with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. And whenever you see that on a WWE or just a wrestling platform, just in itself, you kind of know that, well, I've been a wrestling fan my whole entire life. When you see kind of things like that, you kind of know that, like, all right, I think all right, they kind of need this bridge opponent to like show how Ilya Dragunov's like, you know, a deserving champion, to deserve why he is the NXT champion. Also, I don't know who is he gonna fight next? Who is he gonna fight next? And that's a pretty good question. That's a pretty good question because right now, at the top of my head, I don't know if Carmelo Hayes defeats Trick Williams at Stand and Deliver, and then gets its head of steam to fight Dragunov for the NXT World Championship. If I was creatives, I would probably kind of lean toward that. But Trick Williams right now, he's over. He's so over with the fans right now. People love him. People, they give into his promotions, his chants, he knows how to make a rise out of the audience. And 9 times out of 10, if you're a really good wrestler, you have good talent, and also if you're over with the crowd, you're gonna get pushed. You're gonna get a lot of promotions. You're gonna get a lot of title shots, and I can see Trick Williams having a pretty good future in WWE in the near future. So that's good for Trick Williams. Um, also, Rich Holland had a retirement speech. Um, like he, like don't get me wrong, Rich Holland is a wrestler. He's a wrestler. You deal with a lot of crap when you're a wrestler. A lot of traveling, a lot of turmoil, a lot of like just discrepancy. Like I don't know if anybody. I can imagine like if you worked a job where you were constantly on the road, checking in and out of hotels, flights after flights after flights after flights, and then like it's so hard for the family life. It really is. Like for, a wife, kids. It takes a toll. And sometimes you need to take a step back and I don't know, just kind of nurture those relationships. And just to kind of, I think in the long run, it's kind of like a positive. So when you fix your personal life, like I know even if it's like for me, so to speak, like when you fix your personal life, when you have your careers like right there in line, you kind of strive toward the top faster and more aggressive and more determined as you were, as opposed to your family life askew, your career kind of interflecting, like, and it's just constantly like, and it's not science, it's just psychology here. Like that's how it is, with any work relationship. If you're a wrestler or not, maybe you're a construction worker, or maybe you're a fireman, who knows? But like, anyways, it's it's to a point where you have to kind of like step back and kind of realize like what's important. Like obviously your career is, but is it really worth all? Like absolutely everything? Is it really worth the relationship with your family? Is it really worth a relationship with your wife? Or if it's really worth a relationship with your kids? Like I said, you guys are gone. Absolutely, you guys are gone like 365 days of the year. I would say that's along with the like the Army, Marines, and like all that core. Like you are so far away. You cannot communicate with your family on a day-to-day basis or even an hour-to-hour basis. And it's just, it creates like this toxic relationship. And it's really good that Ridge Holland was able to, kind of take a step back, even if it's for the creative aspect of it. But kind of moving on, we're running out of time. What it kind of reminded me of was the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels speech, where back in the 90s, there was a point where Shawn Michaels relinquished his WWE heavyweight title to the Gorilla Monsoon. Well, it was, to WWE. And he basically said, somewhere along the line, somewhere along the way, all this traveling, all this BS, all this trying to be all you can be in front of the fans, constant competition with your coworkers, I lost my smile. I lost my smile somewhere. I can't smile anymore. And that's devastating. Absolutely, that's devastating. And like what Sean did, that was really, really good. Like, and his mom was there as well. And she said the last time she saw Sean and she was like, hey, you don't smile like you used to. You don't have that same spark that you used to, and then that smile. And it's just like, if you think about it as a person, like, when was the last time you really, really smiled? Like, you think about when you smile, you think about just absolutely good times. And imagine smiling, holding back some aggressive thoughts or feelings, or maybe some benevolent, like maybe you're trying to hide behind this facade of like you're trying to be happy, but behind the scenes, it's kind of all like crap. And like someone looks at you and they're like, that's not your smile. Something's wrong with your smile. That would just eat you at the core. And honestly, I don't know if that's the way it is with the Rich Holland aspect, but I know during that time there was a lot of personal animosity between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, who Shawn Michaels was supposed to lose the belt to, but before he did lose to Bret, he relinquished it altogether. And I know Shawn Michaels back in the day, he had locker room problems. He did everything he can to kind of, before Shawn was like, Shawn, he would bury young talent. He would bury his coworkers besides, Triple H or Paul Lavisqua. But I don't know. It's just kind of reminding me of that kind of promo. I wonder if he's gonna come back and stand and deliver and like challenge somebody. But who knows? So just gonna cap it off. We have Valkyrie and Roxanne Perez building toward momentum, toward the end of the NXT, toward Stand and Deliver. It's looking pretty good. It's looking these two superstars obviously want a piece of each other, and Valkyrie didn't have to come back from her arm injury to participate in this match against Roxanne Perez. Like, who the heck is Roxanne Perez, dude? Sometimes you go, sometimes you come back, sometimes you lose your title, dude. You should not, you should never, even in real life, you should never ever feel entitled to a position that you'd never worked for. I know, like, if you had it there and if it was taken away from you, something happened, any normal human being would be like, all right, I'm gonna bust my ass. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna outshine all these other coworkers. I'm just gonna work myself right back up the top. I'm not gonna like complain about it. Like, who wants to complain about it? And that's why I think Roxanne Perez will lose this match ultimately. But just kind of ending it here. So Briggs had a match with Chase University. Briggs won. And at the end, Oba Femi came out and basically made it a triple threat match between Briggs, Dijak, and himself. And honestly, as a wrestling fan, I love that. I really, honestly, really, 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 really love that. Because you have this Nigerian badass come out here. Like, obviously, maybe you can see a kind of discrepancy, or maybe like a kind of clash of cultures here, that the guy from Nigeria is like, to prove yourself dominant, you have to be the best. As opposed to like other wrestlers where it's like, I don't want a triple threat match. That's two more ways I can lose the match. I don't even have to get pinned to lose the match. But Obafemi's like, you know what? Let's do this. And honestly, I thought that was pretty badass. Like, if we have a Badass of the Year award for the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, I think it's a tie between Obafemi and myself. No, no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm nowhere near that guy because that guy's pretty badass. But I don't know. So yeah, All right, let's go ahead and move on. Wow, time is absolutely flying here. So don't go anywhere. Our next subject, our next segment is going to be about All Elite Wrestling. We're going to preview and kind of just, just talk about All Elite Wrestling. So don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit. A stupid myth, you choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, produced by the GSMC Sports Network. So what we recently spoke on was the NXT review. Kind of took a little longer than I expected, but hey, NXT, it's Stand and Deliver. This is WrestleMania. This is WrestleMania season. Like if this show doesn't overlap maybe 30 minutes after this after its end time, then I, as a wrestling podcast host, I have failed you. I've failed you. No, I didn't. No, I'm just kidding. No, we got to stay within the times. If you want to catch me, I'm also on YouTube, creating shorts for the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, so you can catch me there as well. But like I said before, we get a number of questions from the viewers, like you, during the show. To ensure your question gets read on the air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Also, this brings your question all the way up to the top so we can talk. You can tell me what I've done wrong. You can tell me that I'm babbling on like an idiot. And also, why am I in love with Oba Femi? You can also you can criticize me. You can tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. But we love positive. We love positivity here. We love peace, love, and positivity here at the GSMC Sports Network. So, like I said before, once again, the link is at gsmcpodcast.net so we can have a little fun. Text me. Don't leave me all alone, all by myself. Don't want to be I'm just kidding. Anyways, moving on. So we have the All Elite Wrestling preview. Um, so far, All Elite Wrestling has kind of stole my heart. It's kind of stole my heart. I like these superstars a lot. I like the way that the creative team is handling the situation in Tony Khan's promotion. Definitely a bit overlooked. I know the ratings haven't been doing too stellar, but if you're watching this and if you're a wrestling fan, watch it. Like last week, you had that awesome street fight between Chris Statlander and Willow against Sky Blue and against Julia Hart. That was pretty cool, man. That was pretty darn cool. Like if you want old school wrestling, that's it. It's cutthroat. It's absolutely you're on the edge of your seat. Somebody was drove through the thumbtacks twice in one day. No, I lied. I'm sorry. No, that was Darby Allin during the AEW Revolution. But anyways, they tried to fill Chris Statlander's mouth with thumbtacks. That should just like draw you in automatically. And if it doesn't draw you in, you're not a wrestling fan. You're not a wrestling fan. Go ahead, pick up your stuff, and no, I'm just kidding. Don't leave. Please don't leave. But AEW, it's pretty badass. That's kind of what I'm trying to hit at here. They're live from Quebec City, so they're still in Canada from Toronto last week. So we're We have been waiting pins and needles for this amazing free agent in the wrestling world named Will Ospreay, who actually, Hunter Hearst Helmsley of WWE CEO kind of regrets not signing him. He was a bit expensive, but this guy would propel your promotion to the next level. I would say if Will Ospreay joined the WWE right now, he would absolutely be right above. He'd be above Finn Balor. He'd be above Sami Zayn. He'd actually even be above Gunther. But since Gunther actually, he has this Intercontinental title reign that nobody can really touch him or Roman. But if he joins, like he would be in that world's heavyweight title picture like right away. And that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. When was the last time a WW no, just a wrestling free agent had the mentality, had the what is that word I'm looking for? Potential to be like, you put him in right now, he is main event worthy. Not a lot of people can be like that. Absolutely. Not a lot of people have that, that mentality. A lot of people don't have that, that grit. What makes a true grit wrestler is knowing that once when you're down, you can always pick yourself right back up. I think that was like a Ric Flair quote, or maybe like Hulkamania. No, I don't know. I think it sounds like a Ric Flair woo kind of thing, but I don't know. It's anyways, moving on. So Will Ospreay will fight Yumari Shibata. And oh man, these Japanese wrestlers would probably kick my ass if they found out the way I was just butchering their names. So please don't hurt me. Um I think they're facing off for the first time in a long time. They fought 11 times. The first time, well, the one singles match they had, Shibata actually beat Osprey. But ever since then, they never really had a like kind of like a rematch. So this match is going to mean a lot to Will Osprey. Also, you have the AEW World Tag Team titles. The whole tag team title tournament coming to a close. You have facing off for the first time. You have the world. Well, not for the first time. The last time the Young Bucks and the Private Party faced each other was in 2020, where the Young Bucks got the win. So will the Private Party, pull through the grit and pull through the woods to be able to beat these guys? Because the Young Bucks, the EVP, with with the Rainmaker. Honestly, I think they're kind of heading towards superstardom. I don't want to say they're kind of forming kind of like a Judgment Day, like kind of stable here, but I think they are gonna win this tag team, the AEW World Tag Team titles, just to kind of establish that credibility, because right now they're hated by the crowd. And what makes the crowd more upset and more grueling and more aggressive toward a team who holds the most prestigious thing in the business, which in their case is the AEW World Tag Team titles. So I don't see a reason why they won't be tag team champions, at Dynasty, but who knows, it could be like, maybe somebody else would win. Like maybe I will win. I need a tag team partner. Does anybody out there in the wrestling world want to be Eric's tag team partner? I swear to God, I give me like a good 2 or 3 decades to get in shape, and then we are ready. Me and you, bro. Me and you are ready to face for the to compete for the AEW World Titles. And I'm not lying. I'm just kidding. No, I can never be a wrestler. That'd be crazy. Absolutely crazy. Just airports, like right off the bat. Do you know how many weird people I've encountered in airports? Oh my God. Like there's this one guy, like I was in a bathroom stall and he was, no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna finish that one. But anyways, like main of the story is that the Young Bucks will probably win the AEW World Tag Team title tournament. So, thank you for that. So the Undisputed Kingdom's also in the AEW World Tag Team Tournament. The Undisputed Kingdom, like every single time I want to say the Undisputed Era, I miss Adam Cole being in WWE. He belonged in WWE, and because of a couple of poor writing and bookings, and Vince McMahon's still in charge of the talent. I think they lost a lot of those wrestlers like Keith Lee, Aleister Black, Roderick Strong. He lost basically all of the undisputed air stable, and it was just devastating. It was crazy because even when you were watching NXT back in the day, like you kind of see all these people leave, and WWE, because they're not in partnership with AEW or New Japan Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, or or anything above. So because WWE is an entity by itself, when people leave WWE, they write them off. Absolutely write them off. There's no continuity. Which is kind of weird because I think last podcast we talked about how Sting was very reluctant on joining the WWF, Vince McMahon's promotion. But the moment Diesel left, Diesel and Razor Ramon left, they were actually replaced by these guys that looked exactly like them, but they were like these crappy stunt doubles that were trying to fill the void of Razor Ramon and Diesel. Like, first and foremost, that's insulting to me, to the viewers, even to the superstars who portrayed them. Like, it was that bad. Like, it was crazy. And like, second of all, like you can't just do that. You can't just replace people. People are not replaceable. You can't just be like, oh, Razor Ramon left. Oh, guess what's gonna happen? We have Razor Ramon part two, and then it comes this guy's like, suck, brah. Like it's just it's not the same. And if you're an old school wrestling fan, you would get the concept and the references. But I don't know. I remember watching that when I was growing up, and I was like, what the F? I was like, what's going on here? That's crazy. But, anyways. Um, so to kind of finish this off here, we have the TBS Championship number one contendership match, which is honestly kind of the match I'm looking most forward to. What time is it? 8:30. So it probably should be within the next like hour. And follow me on YouTube. Follow the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast on YouTube. I produce shorts and everything like that. We can talk, comment, and it just doesn't end now. Like, what I mean? Like, I know everybody on the East Coast obviously has a leg up on us because I don't have East Coast television timer, but we're West Coast, baby. California knows how to. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, Tupac. I'm just kidding. But the TBS Championship number one contendership match, we have Chris Statlander versus Willow of Nightingale, versus Sky Blue. Which last out of all these superstars that fought in the street fight, Sky Blue was absolutely like she was crazy. Honestly, she kind of like not that Mick Foley kind of feel, but she was ruthless. That like what Johnny Cena said when he walked in the ring with Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle was like, "Who are you? What do you want to do with me?" And he was like, "What makes you think that you can compete with Kurt Angle?" And he was like, "Ruthless aggression." And then he went on, he like started kicking, Kurt Angle's ass. But I don't know, Sky Blue, she's gonna do wonders in this industry, especially with AEW. And last we have Anna Jay. Anna Jay. We have those. We have a fatal four way for the number one contendership for the TBS Championship, and it's gonna be pretty awesome. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be the main event. It should be. Honestly, if I was a promoter, that would be my number one match. So hopefully when we log off around 9 p.m. we can watch the match together and just like chit chat. I'll text you, you text me, send me my DMs, send me my don't DM me anything crazy. I mean, I got a wife and kids. I don't need any of that. Like I'm just kidding though. But yeah. So who's gonna face Julia Hart at AEW Dynasty? So we have that to look forward to in that. So, all right. Next, we have for our next segment, we have the Attitude Era is back, and I know just saying that statement just excited a lot of the audience, but we'll talk about it more in a little bit. So don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. It's your boy E here on the mic. And just to kind of reiterate what we talked about, our first segment was about a little bit of the WWE NXT and what to expect heading towards Stand and Deliver and the WrestleMania weekend, Saturday to be specific. But we also talked about AEW, some of the important matches that were that are happening as we speak. But we want to kind of move into now, and honestly, as a wrestling fan, I grew up during the Attitude Era. I love the Attitude Era. It was constantly unpredictable. There was blood, there was curse words, there was just absolute mayhem. Every single show, you had no idea what was going to happen. And when it comes to unpredictability, comes immense and exclusive, amazing skyrocketing ratings for a lot of these wrestling promotions. For me, watching WCW, that's kind of what the WWF kind of lacked thereof, if in my opinion. But eventually it all, Vince McMahon wound it up on top, which is kind of crazy. I still don't understand how, but that's another podcast. Maybe we'll cover that in another segment, in the future. How WCW and Turner Television was absolutely killing it. They were in charge of the ratings on Monday night and Thursday night for years, and they were the ones who went under, which is kind of baffles me. So during the Busted Open podcast, host and former wrestler Bully Ray and Hall of Famer kind of said that the WWE Attitude Era mantra is on this WrestleMania 40 main event, meaning that you kind of have The Rock, Roman Reigns, who kind of are on this. They're on this level. Like right now, there's no turmoil within the bloodline, And then you have Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, and both of the teams are trying to create a wedge where they can kind of have this. I don't want to say advantage because I don't know. I don't feel like that's the right word, but I'm going to use it. They kind of have this advantage, this kind of this approach that you never really had this existence as a wrestling fan, that Seth was going to turn on Cody or Rock was going to turn on Roman until this promo was released on, I think it was Friday Night SmackDown, and it was absolutely crazy. But you kind of have that Attitude Era esque to it, like that Stone Cold Steve Austin DTA, don't trust anybody, Stone Cold Steve Austin 316, I just whipped your AWS. But nobody should have trust Austin, because that's just how the Attitude Era was, that a lot of these superstars were kind of just out on their own. Like a lot of these superstars didn't like invite the other person to dinner, or didn't like be like, hey, you want to go work out and lift some weights together? No, dude, it was like, dude, I want your title, man. Like, I want to be the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret Hart, if anybody knows, now you know. And I'm just kidding. But there's been a lot of turmoil within this promotion between Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and The Rock and Roman Reigns, but yet no betrayal. No betrayal, no signs of betrayal. And I think, in my opinion, that just kind of escalates and it kind of builds up within our little WWE wrestling bodies that something's going to happen Absolutely. Something's going to happen. Someone's going to betray somebody. And it's just going to be the biggest, like, moment of the century. When was the last time WWE really had that moment? For me, there's a lot of mini moments. There's a lot of baby moments. But one of them was when Seth Rollins turned on the Shield. That was like one of those, like, what the? And another one was when they were trying to find out who was going to be the next Universal Champion. When Finn Balor was hurt and relinquished the title, and Seth Rollins thought that Triple H was going to be on his side, but he got pedigreed, and then Kevin Owens came in and he was the Universal Champion with Chris Jericho and stuff like that. So within the last, oh man, that was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So with that being said, honestly, it's been a while since I've been shocked. It's been a while. I was a little shocked that Cody Rhodes didn't win last year, but as soon as Cody Rhodes didn't win last year, as a wrestling fan, and I know a lot of you people could probably relate, you kind of knew that he was gonna win this year. Like he was gonna win this year. So, that could be good. That could also be bad. You lose that unpredictability, you lose that aspect of it, which is what wrestling fans are really like hooked on nowadays. But anyways, moving on. So the absolutely unpredictability, an oh my god moment. Um, it's crazy how once when The Rock started, once when he became the board of directors for TKO, which is part of Endeavors, which is part of the UFC, WWE aspect. Ever since that merger, you just can't help but to see that a lot of this writing and WWE content or creative has been doing a lot better. The Rock has been working behind the scenes with a lot of superstars. You could tell that, like, I know The Rock, a lot of the, definitely from years, he kept saying, I'm going to come back. I'm come back. I'm home. I'm home. I'm going to do WWE good. I think after all this, this Hollywood stuff, I think he's finally made it to the point where he can still do Hollywood, but he can still do wrestling, and he can still do wrestling really, really good, especially with WWE Creative, who has been struggling ever since Vince Russo left. But then that's my opinion. You know what I mean? Like Vince Russo was the head, he was the blood, sweat, and tears, and the emotions of the Attitude Era. And eventually, Vince Russo moved on to WCW. And I'm not going to solely place WCW's success on Vince Russo, but I know a lot of, I know The Rock could just impact people. He could just impact people from that wrestling standpoint, from the root, the attitude. He also has a lot of Hollywood techniques. Like The Rock could probably be a direct. He probably has directed a couple of films, or maybe like he's directing like a TV show or something like that. Like Young Rock, like the Young Rock was, it was pretty. I watched a couple episodes. It was pretty good, but I don't know. I just feel like The Rock, as the head of the TKO, he's kind of, obviously he's allowed to have a little more leeway here to kind of be like, the executives are like, hey, Dwayne, we are PG, right? But, Dwayne, he uses those curse words. He uses those, tactics. He makes Cody bleed and Mama Rhodes, and he has the belt and smears the blood on that. Like, he knows how to catch the people's attention. And isn't that what wrestling's all about? Isn't that what we're all here for? Isn't that the reason why we kind of watch sports? Not for blood. Not for blood. Kind of, not to like dabble on the NFL too much, but the hip drop tackle being outlawed is ridiculous. But sometimes it takes someone like The Rock to kind of step away from wrestling, come back, and be like, look, this is what's wrong. This is how we can fix it, and this is how we can move on, and we can prove a pivotal, like more successful business being, moving forward. And honestly, like you have The Rock, you have Triple H. They were the best feud, arguably, like for me growing up, one of the best feuds. But honestly, as you're a wrestling fan, well, at least I feel that I am looking towards some greener pastures, toward the future. And I'm kind of happy that The Rock came on as a TKO, representative. But like I said, the Attitude Era is back. Yeah, more blood, sweat, exciting storylines, bad language. and just some more intense feuds. You have superstars, like for example, you can kind of see this thing kind of escalate, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I want y'all to remember, when was the last time you saw Ricochet fighting in a WWE ring? Take a second. All right, too long. I'm just kidding. No, but Ricochet has been featured on Raw 3 weeks in a row. That's because he's talented. He's simply talented. You can build something around him, and it sucks because he has that, he's kind of shorter and he's kind of smaller than the rest, but he's definitely absolutely someone you can build an organization around. And I don't know. Like I said before, I can see the light heavyweight championship coming back, maybe the cruiserweight championship coming back. I hope not the 24/7 title because that would suck. But I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, he has better futures for these superstars that's been overlooked for a long, long time. That's been just basically meat for Braun Breaker or people like Braun Strowman or Baron Corbin or Keith Lee or Bronson Reed to come in and be like, "Oh, let's just see how strong these guys are. Let's just put fear in these." Like, as wrestling fans, you don't want to see that stuff. Like, I don't want to see guys getting dominant. Like, I want to see some good matches, dude. Like, I'm sorry, and I know I'm not trying to pander to the public, but I don't know, like, I'm a wrestling fan, and I know it's, absolutely like choreographed and scripted, but it's not in a way. And these people put their bodies on the line and stuff like that. But dude, like, there's such a thing as like too fake. It gets too crazy. Like, it gets to the point where you kind of look at it and you're like, all right, like, I don't think I could watch this anymore. I'm just kidding. No, but like stuff like that, like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like just these throwaway matches that they're doing for superstars, instead of using throwaway matches for these young talented people trying to make an name for themselves, they should maybe make kind of like not a league, but like a division that just supports things like that. So, and just the final thing to kind of touch on is Booker T, Hall of Famer for the five-time five-time WCW champion. He basically said to me, and he said, and I quote, "To me, that the Attitude Era was the best era. I think the WWE is bringing it back just a little bit." And to be honest, you can't help but to agree with Booker. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what we're seeing as WWE fans. And, we love it. I like it. I haven't been on the edge of my seat from WrestleMania in a long, long time, which is kind of crazy because next year they kind of have to build off those emotions to kind of hit that same expectation, which I'm excited to see what they do about that. But right now, I think they're doing a pretty darn good job. So, kudos to them. All right. We talked about that. We talked about the Attitude Era coming back possibly. Next, we kind of want to talk about the WWE Women's Division. It's getting pretty heavy, guys. It's getting pretty crazy. And a lot of these superstars, we have a couple people coming back. But then again, we have a lot of people within the organization that's ready just to push it. Like a lot of NXT, a lot of AEW women's wrestlers. Like, you kind of look at it, and it's to the point where nowadays, women's wrestling could probably be the main event in multiple pay-per-views. It doesn't have to be Royal Rumble. It doesn't have to be SummerSlam. It doesn't have to be WrestleMania. It doesn't have to be AEW, it doesn't have to be Big Business or Dynamite or, Dynasty. But a lot of these people, a lot of these girls could, carry on that weight. So, it's important not to underestimate them. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. All right.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, hosted by your man E. brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Recently, we talked about our segment one was about WWE NXT review, heading towards Stand and Deliver. Our second segment was about AEW preview and what a lot of people could expect going toward AEW Dynasty in early April. And we recently spoke about how the Attitude Era is back, according to Hall of Famer Bully Ray, Booker T, and most importantly, myself. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not that, conceited. Or am I? I'm just kidding. No, but anyways, we're gonna move on to this women's WWE Women's division. It's getting pretty heavy, honestly. Right now, if you're kind of heading into wrestling, you are absolutely excited about what's coming forth, what's kind of coming forward, sort of, for all these women to be absolutely noticed, which is kind of cool. Like I said, a good thing. I don't want to diminish the Attitude Era, but they didn't really treat women like they deserve to be treated. All right, I know this isn't like a politics, or this isn't like a podcast like that, but we got to call it what it is. Absolutely, the women's wrestlers back in the day, before the 19, no, not even 19. I remember still watching 2005 matches where okay, no, let's not get into it. Let's focus. Let's focus toward the future, and the future is right in front of you and me. Look at that screen. Look at that screen. Look at those pythons. Honestly, I don't have muscles like that. I probably could never have muscles like that. Washboard abs and stuff like that. Jade Cargill, former AEW star, says there's going to be big things on this upcoming SmackDown. So, as you're watching this right now, and you're going to watch SmackDown in the future, I think something big's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but Jade Cargill is going to be absolutely dynamite. And how that's funny how AEW Dynamite, yeah. I'm just kidding. She's gonna be pretty good. She's gonna be pretty good. She's gonna put the WWE wrestling, women's division on notice. She's a former AEW TBS champion. She said, and I quote, she said, "I need y'all to watch this Friday." And oh man, that's crazy. Do you think she's better as a babyface or a heel? Honestly, I kind of think right now you kind of have that damage. I know a lot of people think she's going to join Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Bailey to fight Damage Control, but I don't see that happening. And even if it did, I see her turning her back on either Naomi or Bianca. I see something like that happening. It would be absolutely awesome to see Jade Cargill against Bianca. That'd be absolutely crazy and pretty dope. But honestly, I think the way she's coming in right now, and she's had a lot of injuries in the past, but she has something to prove. She really has something to prove. She's never really been within the WWE circuit before, so I think maybe she's been around all the other independent circuits, New Japan Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, AEW, and I'm not trying to say that WWE is kind of like the Mecca or kind of like the major league, so to speak, but once when you get to this level, you kind of want to prove yourself. And I'm not saying this as a way for someone to talk down to other superstars that are not WWE. It's just that once when you're in this position, WWE honestly has a lot more televised events, a lot more contracts, a lot more partnerships with platforms such as Peacock, growing to you have USA, you also have Fox, and growing to you have Netflix that's gonna produce WWE shows. So the best way to kind of have yourself kind of just reflected through media and kind of be noticed is to be on WWE. And it kind of sucks to say, but that's just kind of how it is. But I don't know. I think Jade Cargill is going to be pretty dope. She was coached by Dustin Rhodes, Mark Henry, and also Bryan Danielson. She had a reign of a 508-day reign for the TBS champion, which is the largest of all the AEW championship reigns. So that's something to take notice for. Also, TKO, like I said before, merged with WWE right around the time they signed Jade Cargill. So I don't know. For me, that's kind of like a foreshadow that I think they are preparing this girl to do absolute great things, and she absolutely deserves it. Absolutely. Like for me, a dream match, like as soon as she gets in, would probably be like a Jade Cargill match versus Bianca Belair in WrestleMania. If they honestly, if WWE Creative is doing that right now, where they're just building toward that at WrestleMania, that would honestly make me a pretty happy camper. I would restore faith in the wrestling community, especially after Monday Night Raw, where they had Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio rehash their rivalry, which didn't make sense. Wow. Just kind of like another match for eyes to see. But I don't know. I hope it's not like one of those things where they try to force it too much and it just doesn't seem riveting or just doesn't seem appealing to the fans. And I'm a fan. We all are fans. And like I said before, we all know when it just feels too pushed. Moving on. So like I said, she was in the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble match where, all right, she eliminated Becky. She eliminated Nia. She also eliminated Naomi. And she was in the match for a pretty long time. How does not how does that not make you think that she is destined for greatness in the WWE? I don't know. It's just crazy because I feel like I don't know, she's going to be absolute. She was teased on Fastlane October of 2023. And I think there's just going to be build this momentum toward Jade Cargill. And I think she absolutely has worked for her. She deserves. And just it's going to be good for her career as well as the WWE's. So we have to look forward to. Last thing I kind of want to touch on is Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss hasn't been seen in action for a pretty long time. She hasn't wrestled since January 2023, so about a year and 2 months. And Alexa Bliss was, she was good. She was very good. She played that heel. She had a baby face. She was tag team with Nikki Cross. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with her character and that kind of aspect. But Alexa Bliss, she took to X, which I don't know. I hate saying X. I hate want to saying Twitter, but she took to X, and Bliss said that she's back at it again. Back at it again. She showed wrestling gear. She said that she was working out. She's working with a trainer. She, obviously coming back from having a kid, you kind of need to be more determined and more just tenacious and than it was beforehand. Because when you have a baby, like, and me as a man, I can't honestly say this, but knowing my wife who has had a baby, it's hard to just get back into kind of like your your normal regiment. So that's why, you got to respect moms like Becky and Alexa and all these other WWE Bianca and all that. But I don't know. She has a potential for a WWE return at SummerSlam, which is in her home state, Ohio. So that could be possibly. I don't know how they would I would kind of see her going after Bailey because I know they have had like past feuds back in the day. So I can see kind of Alexa Bliss like going toward that. Also, she made an appearance on The Masked Singer, which is pretty cool. Like as a wrestling fan, I like seeing WWE wrestlers around. Like you see them on Sports Center, you see them on VH1, you see them on MTV. I remember when I was watching Larry King live and I saw Brodus Clay. I guess now Brodus Clay's like a politician like Jesse, Ventura, and I was like, oh my god! Like when you see them on TV, you automatically be like, what do they have to say? That's because they have that wrestling aspect of it. You have those wrestling like fans that just want to listen to you, and because you have been in the world of wrestling, a lot of people like pay attention to that kind of stuff. But anyways, she had a skin cancer scare, which is, not really, you know, which is not, it's, cancer is obviously like one of the biggest like killers here in the world, so it's like something to take pretty seriously. But she had a skin cancer scare, but announced days later that she was cancer free and she was undergoing a procedure. So thank God. That's pretty awesome. Like we love to see stuff like that, especially in the world of medicine where cancer could, or just underlying conditions, just stuff like a pandemic like coronavirus. I don't know how many people have been affected by coronavirus, like family and loved ones just passing away because of it. Like it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. Like stuff that's out of your control, like your body. Sometimes, people's bodies are, stronger than the other. They fight off infections better than the other. They have, antibodies or, and they're, it's highly unpredictable to kind of feel that I don't know, like you can't really feel like not I can't really, like say the word safe, but like I don't know, like anything can happen. Like we feel lucky we take life day by day. Life is a gift. Life is a gift. One day could be your last. One day it's not, but you never know. So live life to the fullest. Watch wrestling. I'm just kidding. That's not living life to the fullest. But for me, it is. Wrestling brings, happiness and joy to my life. And to be honest, if it was my last day on Earth, I wouldn't mind watching Cody Rhodes fight Roman Reigns. That'd be pretty dope. You know what I mean? But of course, I don't hope that never happens. The man upstairs. I'm sorry. I don't want to tempt you. But uh, I don't know. Alexa Bliss should come back to the ring, and I think she's on her way back too. So and also she revealed 2 months later that she had her first baby. She was pregnant and with Ryan Cabrera's baby. I never heard of that dude. But because she's Alexa Bliss's guy, now I've heard of that dude and now I care. And I know that's kind of weird because probably Ryan Cabrera's fans would be like, who's Alexa Bliss? Who's this girl? Wrestling? What? And I'd be like, dude, the other way around, dude. You're the outsider. You're the outsider. No, they had a baby. Her name's Hendrix. November 27th, she was born. So, as a father, a baby being born is absolutely like, it's a godsend. I'm happy to have my 3 babies, absolutely. And I'm blessed to have a woman who loves me, despite how much of a crazy and obnoxious and annoying wrestling fan I am. But I don't know. Like that's just life, guys. So let's just all enjoy life. Let's just all love one another, be patient toward one another, and also watch some wrestling, some good old fashioned wrestling. All right. So, once again, thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, presented to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. Use that Superman punch the like, punch the subscribe, punch the I want to see this loser keep talking and, keep, spilling his opinions and life lessons on us. But it really does make a difference. Leave a positive view of peace, love, and positivity, baby, all the way. So it does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram for more content and updates. Once again, like if you're not a huge wrestling kind of guy, we have football with Kenneth. We have basketball with my man Nelson. We have the Andrew Tate show where he's on there with Faith. We also have college sports with Thomas. I recently did a baseball podcast with my boy Sam, which was actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like we had like this like nice little like back and forth like conversation about the Dodgers, and we also have way too early playoff predictions where I predicted that my Los Angeles Angels will win the World Series. No, that will never happen. But no. But anyway, check out these podcasts, guys. We are like GSMC Podcast Network is growing pretty fiercely and pretty fast. So don't miss a chance to just hop on this entertainment wagon. We are one of the biggest entertainment conglomerates in the podcasting world. So give us a shot. Once again, thank you for tuning into the Wrestling Laureate Podcast and have an absolute phenomenal day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little